Let me take you back to a time long before history, when gods walked among mortals and the fate of kingdoms hung by the finest of threads. Our story begins not in the shadow of Troy, but on Mount Olympus, where the gods rule. The root of the Trojan War lies not in some great heroic quarrel, but in a far more trivial, yet utterly dangerous thing, a beauty contest. Yes, a beauty contest between goddesses. It all started at a wedding. A grand, divine feast was being held to celebrate the union of the sea nymph Thetis and a mortal king, Peleus. Every god and goddess was invited, except for one. Eris, the goddess of strife and discord. Can you imagine the fury? The insult? But Eris would not be ignored. In her rage, she crafted a plan that would shake the heavens and the earth. She fashioned a single golden apple, inscribed with 3 chilling words. To the fairest. Then, she cast it into the middle of the wedding banquet, right before the eyes of the goddesses. Immediately, 3 goddesses laid claim to the apple. Hera, queen of the gods, Athena, goddess of wisdom and war, and Aphrodite, goddess of love and beauty. Who was the fairest of them all? Each demanded to be crowned the most beautiful, and none would concede. Now, you might think Zeus, the king of the gods, could have settled the matter. But Zeus, wise and cunning as he was, knew better than to involve himself in a quarrel between these powerful goddesses. Instead, he chose a mortal man. A prince to decide who would win this divine beauty contest. And this is where the story takes a sharp and fateful turn. The mortal chosen to judge was none other than Paris, the prince of Troy, a man known for his fairness and good looks. But what he didn't know was that this decision would not only change his life but seal the fate of his entire city. One by one, the goddesses visited Paris, each attempting to bribe him. Hera, majestic in her splendor, promised him power, rulership over all the lands of men. Imagine it, kingdoms bending to his will, empires under his control. Athena was next, her armor gleaming under the sunlight. She promised him unmatched wisdom and victory in every battle, making him the greatest warrior the world would ever know. The finest generals and soldiers would fall before his might. But it was Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty, who whispered the most tempting promise of all. She offered him the love of the most beautiful woman in the world. Helen of Sparta, a queen whose beauty was said to rival even that of the goddesses. Paris was dazzled by Aphrodite's offer. The thought of such a woman, Helen, falling in love with him seemed irresistible. Without hesitation, he awarded the golden apple to Aphrodite. Now, here's where the story takes a darker twist. Helen, the most beautiful woman in the world, was already married to Menelaus, the powerful king of Sparta. But Aphrodite, true to her word, enchanted Helen. She fell in love with Paris, and together they fled to Troy. And what was Menelaus, the king of Sparta, to do? Abandoned, humiliated, and outraged, he called upon his brother Agamemnon, the king of Mycenae, and all the powerful Greek kings and warriors. The greatest heroes of Greece, Odysseus, Achilles, Ajax, and more, joined forces. 1,000 ships were launched, bound for Troy, intent on bringing Helen back and avenging Menelaus' dishonor. But what Paris didn't foresee was that this one moment, this decision to award the apple to Aphrodite, would unleash a war that would rage for 10 long years. The gods themselves would take sides, with Hera and Athena, furious at Paris, aiding the Greeks, while Aphrodite stood by the Trojans. The Trojan War was not merely a battle of men, but a war of gods, manipulation, and destiny. And it all began with a single golden apple, thrown in malice, and a simple choice made by a love-struck prince. Little did Paris know, his decision would bring about the fall of Troy, a city believed to be impenetrable. But that's a tale for another day, the story of the wooden horse and the final, fateful night when Troy's walls would crumble. And thus, the Trojan War began, not with swords and shields, but with whispers and promises from the gods themselves.